welcome back to my channel again. I know I'm making another video, but I thought I would talk about something else. I know I said before that I did not think I would. Okay, the video that I was like goodbye to my channel about, but then I decided to do a different form of a different type of channel. But on that video, I did say I thought I was not median anymore. But I'm not sure about that, if I am or not. And this probably will be kind of a long video, at least as much as the last one. I'm sorry about it, the length being, I'm sorry about the length being so long, but I have a lot to say. So, I think it starts here about realizing about things, and I'm going to share my experience about my plurality. It's really hard to talk about because the only form people most of the time has heard about is like DID and stuff like that, which I don't have, but I learned about a different kind that's not like an official diagnosis or anything, but a lot of people have the sentiment that they feel in between, like they're not a singlet and they're not multiple, like the case of someone with DID or something. Because there are some symptoms that does not experience. It's not super stressing, at least not anymore. But without further ado, I guess that's how you say it. Oh, by the way, as a disclaimer, I don't edit my videos, so I'm sorry. Put up with what happens. There we go. The camera is flipped, so I get confused. Without further ado, I'm gonna read, I think around 10/14 of this year. I did finally talk to my therapist, but anyways, I'm rambling, aren't I? I'm sorry. And like I said, I'm sorry about that, and it probably made a sound, because my hand is close to the mic, and it's probably picking up that mic, the webcam, but, my plurality. So, in the past, because I noticed my neck looked crooked when I did that. Sorry. In the past, I was on a mood stabilizer that ended up being not needed and actually made me act kind of mean on it, especially according to my husband. It actually made me I felt dissociative on it. I'm sure the increased sensory issues around that time didn't help either, and our living situation where we lived at, and those who know me, I had several facet/headmates as a median system which is in between singlet and multiple personalities in the same brain. At the time, the consistent ones were Aura, Yuki, and Sora, which you will find on my channel, kind of. Plus, there were others that stuck around for a time. Names like Indigo Turquoise, So Maroon, Twilight, Annabelle. Well, it was Twilight something. That's not a reference to like the pony one. It was I forgot the last name that I added to it, but it's not that. Annabelle Porcelain or Gray. I had stopped at med back in August 2024, so it has been plenty of time off of it. I am at a point where I actually feel median again. I had felt that my system had went away and went dormant. It caused me to believe I had faked it, even though I had no intention of actually doing so. Recently, I looked back at my plural kit for Discord which is like a bot that you can like use a typing command that switches like to a different profile, but on like a different, like you're typing in a different persona, but on the same Discord account, you know. I looked at that and I had no connection to any of them anymore. I redid it. My current experience is more like the emotions and personality of my OCs stick around in my brain, and it feels sort of like a system now. That's not really as much the case anymore, but as you'll see as time goes, as this goes on, like a MADD system, like a paragenic origin, like MADD is like I know what it stands for. Maladaptive daydreaming disorder. I sometimes feel fake again because it's just a system of OCs, but also at the same time, my kins, like alien and elfkin identities, make me a little bit median plural too, since I have more than one otherkin identity, and as regards my OCs, it's like I gave them life, but they can be back there, like, you know, in my brain in the back, doing their own thing too. Also, occasionally I wonder, is there like a disorder that sort of mimics the disorders that I learn and read about, or do I truly might have said disorder or disorders to varying degrees? Because the only thing I tried to Google it, and it basically says like someone who does things like that is like doing it for attention or manipulation or like bad things, and I'm like, no, that's not my intention at all. So, because I wonder if I'm like chameleon, you know, being such a good chameleon, I can feel it empathetically in my brain, but then again, that could be imposter syndrome. Anyway, I continue. Like, I wouldn't be mimicking the disorders as a manipulation tactic or anything. Yeah, I did say that. I wouldn't be trying to have the disorders that I read about on purpose. Like, I'm not deceiving others on purpose as any type of gain or anything. But, like, is my brain creating symptoms of said disorders that I read about, like, because I can imagine how they feel so much that I cause myself to have the disorders? Can reading about it and watching videos cause me to have it? That's what I was wondering at the time. And then a bit later, was it 20th? Yes, October 20th, I found some bits. Skipping over like the diary parts of the journal. Am I median again? Another part? It's just questions to myself. Of course, there's always seems to be a part that thinks I'm selfish. Only those feelings. And then the thought that Tide is the name. Maybe a part in the back of consciousness? Tide. Maybe protector. I'm not plural, but I might know some names if I was. The names are different than before from when I was on the mood stabilizer. Like, I thought Tide was around 30 at the time. For reference, my real life, my age, 37. So, Tide 30. Lillian 6 through 8. Skylar Oak 12 through teen, or like 12 through 14. I can't have youngins again. If I realize and accept they're there, what if I regress again? I hope he was weirded out by that in the past, but what if one day I might not can control it? I had a system like crash or reboot or something. No longer have parts with some names as before, you know, the common ones, that they're faded away, if that happens. I thought I had permanently lost the system, like I'm not one anymore because I got off the medication. Is there sometimes in between something? Is there something? My handwriting is really messy right here. Something in between singlet and multiple, like in multiple, like parentheses. Multiple is like DID in the middle. Yeah. Oh, there's this Tumblr post I saw by this person called Symphony of Gaia. Their plurality pro tip: try giving your body its own name, not your singlet sona's identity, and talking to it from time to time. The results may surprise you. So when I did this at the time and thought, which name would I give me, the answer was Aura again. The same it has been for a while. I wonder if she's still in there. It's just I've got her being or having the personality of the one I connect Aura with. This side of me is highly empathetic / empathic. She absorbs emotions and feels what others do. But I thought she went away when my system changed. Maybe Aura's being like locked away somewhere in my mind. And then I start to realize maybe... One second. There we go. I start to realize maybe is someone or something preventing me from trying to discover that I'm median again, and from discovering my parts. My medianhood isn't as strong as it was when I was on that mood stabilizer, and I thought my medianhood went away permanently after stopping the med, but I don't know. When I try to get curious about it, my phone did something. About it again, I think the one that might be called Tide might be stopping me. Like, is the word gatekeeper, maybe? A gatekeeper protector, I think. And I also think I know what some of the parts' names would be, but I have no access to anyone. There is also a feeling of, what if I'm faking this? What if being median isn't valid? What if the MCs are right and the only valid plural is ones with disorders? No one else except those on the internet talks about other forms of plurality. It's not in any medical or diagnostic thing, right? Or am I missing something? But, like, to be clear, I'm not endogenic origin person. I am pro, but I'm just afraid, like I guess an imposter syndrome thing. And there's a feeling like another me, the one named Tide, is keeping things from me. What do I do? How do I help them? How do I gain access? How do I ease the imposter syndrome? And am I even a valid plural if I can't get anyone else to, so-called front? Tide might be locking Aura away and also thinks they/it is protecting the kids in my system. Yeah, Tide doesn't really have a so-called gender. It might be a femme-presenting entity, but it's not an actual person, so it can have whatever, I can call it an it. So, I don't have access to them either. Also, am I a valid plural if I don't become any of my parts? I do almost get the sensation of some thoughts coming from way back in my brain / consciousness, almost like it's from another me or another part. I think Tide thinks we're selfish. Tide sees or saw the pain of being an empath, and so has locked away Aura under the ocean, like symbolically. That's what, at the time, that's the image I just got something in the bag projected that to me, or I saw an underwater cave. I'll probably get to it later. Tide remembers hubby saying he was weirded out when I age regressed, so they think they're protecting the kids in my brain by never letting them front, or maybe they're just my inner children, and I'm faking it after learning about plurality, even though I'm not faking on purpose for any bad reason. Tide could have saw how bad being median was on me while on the mood stabilizer, and so they won't they don't want my mental health to be poorly affected like that again, and they're trying to convince me that I'm not in reality actually median after all. I don't know which to believe, if this is real or not. I'm afraid of not being believed or feeling invalid and judged if I told all of this to my therapist. As a side note, I did, and I wasn't, invalidated or judged, and I was kind of believed, and she did thank me for telling her, but I probably will get to that later. It probably is in here. She knows a little bit. I had briefly mentioned it, and mentioned it had happened on the mood stabilizer, but I don't experience it anymore. I know she is usually patient and not judgmental, but no matter how much I know her now, I'm still afraid of bring plurality and being median to her. Maybe it's fine if no one fronts, since they won't notice a thing. They won't notice me acting different at different times. It won't affect my life negatively, right? My parts will probably just stay in the back and won't front. Tide is just a protector and like inner critic. Maybe it's just like IFS based parts in my brain, which stands, oh, by the way, IFS stands for internal family system, such as I need to finish it, but such as something like this. It might be like that base parts, and my brain is just chameleoning what I've read about plural experiences. I don't know. I just have like such a fear of making this up. Like, excuse me. I fear of making this up. Like, I want to be plural for some reason, and maybe I shouldn't do that. I don't know. And then it's more. I'm sorry, my videos are mainly just me sitting here reading and not showing anything on the screen. Y'all might like seeing my that poster though. Excuse me. Median, yeah, I don't have a date on it, but I started writing like what it is. I think by this time I did tell my therapist, and I was supposed to, for like homework, describe things better. So I did, write out more. System members are not as distinct. In between singlet and multiple, no amnesia, but still plural though. I used to call my parts my personas because I became them, but I could not always control switching. I am them and they are me. We all have same core values and morals since they're me, but they do have their own personalities, likes, dislikes, attitudes, etc., stuff like that. Viewpoint, of life. Some's more cynical than others. Oh, than each other, they're different from each other. The only form of amnesia I might possibly, to a small degree, experience is the emotional type. After a stressful event, the emotions I felt at the time could feel kind of detached later. Maybe it's like I shifted into another me. There isn't much communication or no communication between different ones, like how compared to how it's normally found in a DID system. I don't have, they don't talk to each other, not really. My system went through several changes in the past. Names were like median system of personas, elemental system, where each was based on elements and emotions, moon phase system. And I had different ones. The ones I remember, aura, the empath, in various forms, usually came out as an elf, kind of. The tomboy Sora, sometimes it was an elf, sometimes it was different things. I don't remember. Cold and logical, and Yuki usually was an alien. Also, kind of, if anyone's familiar with the anime/Japanese term kudere, yeah, usually associated with Yuki. Twilight Mist. Oh, there's her last name. MYST. Hypersexual fallen angel. I know that sounds weird, but that's what that facet was at the time. Annabelle Porcelain, humanoid ball-jointed doll. Sort of like how you would, if you're familiar with the video game Star Rail, Honkai Star Rail, there's a Herta, sort of like that size. Soma Rune, R-U-N-E, Rune, a rune. A spiritual kimono Mimi dog slash wolf, also was Lithari elf at one time, which is basically the same thing. It's an elf that can turn into, wolf-like thing. Fog is a fog slash mist elemental. Mithra was a metal slash cyborg elemental. Pyra was a fire elemental, and those elements were also based off of major emotions that held system members that was emotion holders, I suppose. I suppose that is a thing, but this other one changed a few times. It was Zoe one time, then Susie, then Frumpy. It was like a goblin girl. Indigo Turquoise was a little, around 6 to 8, sometimes a fairy. And Dusk, Hitomi, nonverbal adults in her 30s. Just recently, some OCs lingered and their emotions and wants flowed / bled over into my consciousness. Called my system at the time the fantasy system. I think Plurality stole that, and I need to probably change it. I think high stress just caused these, and they kind of keep varying. Tide is, I think, preventing us from being a real system. I think Aura is hidden away with the kids. Lillian, 6 through 8, and Skylar, who's like 12 through 14. Cider, which Lillian would be akin again to Indigo Turquoise, just with a different name. And Skylar Oak would be pretty much similar to Sora, but with a different name. They just needed new names, I guess, at that time. They're pretty much the same persona part of me. I only know their names, and I get the impression that Tide is trying to protect them and the system. I get the image of an ocean and an underwater cave. It feels like I didn't think it up, but I got sent the image from the back of my consciousness from Tide. Because I can feel the difference when I'm imagining something and when I'm just like, bam, all of a sudden this, yeah. I'm not trying to self-diagnose, because I told myself that I should only do that with autism because, I don't know if I explained that before, but to me it makes sense after so much research, and that I'm present as an adult female with it. But anyways, sometimes I feel like I relate to a certain form of maybe OSDD, when the median is really out there, especially on the mood stabilizer. But I don't know if I should have said this here, but I would never say I have DID, though. Believe me, I would not say that, because I know it's not that close to being that. Excuse me. They actually used to be slightly more distinct while on the mood stabilizer, but still there was no common DID traits. No blackout amnesia, no amnesia, no, not much communication between them, not stuff like that. So in essence it's plural, but no memory amnesia and no distinct alters, but still plural. Currently everyone stays in my brain and cannot currently front. I would like to somehow persuade Tide to give me access, though. When I was younger, like 18, I remember almost constantly having OCs and fictional characters from media, shows and stuff I've watched, that I talked to, and I think they had things to say too, or maybe I imagined I did, I'm not sure. I think it's a form of escape, and I'm going to admit that around 18 or 19, the first time I created an imaginary friend was that age. I know I was an adult, but Her name was Amy, and she had long, straight auburn hair and green eyes. She was around for a while until I met my, husband, got married. So 23 and 24. I got married at 24, met him at 23. In recent years, she comes around only occasionally, here and there, and doesn't stick around for long each time. The way my internal systems presented themselves changed at different stages of my life. First, it was OCs and fictional characters. Then it was imaginary friends. Then it was like different personas of me based off of a specific key emotion, like empath, cold/logical, and that one had less empathy, sort of. Tomboy, little girl, etc. It separated me into different fragments because it felt too much for one single entity or person to deal with. Currently, they're at the back of my consciousness. To separate my brain like this into different roles felt easier to manage instead of so much on one single entity or person. I think, too, my brain got really tired and exhausted after discovering autism and being unable to mask anymore. Almost any stress is hard on me now, so maybe the brain needs other parts or facets to deal with certain things instead of the main core. And I did note that the changes in handwriting can happen. Like there's mostly even though my neatest is not it is not. Other people are neater, but still. I wonder if it was only the mood stabilizer or if any major stress might cause this fragmenting and cause more to actually, front. More sleeping problems. So I wrote this next one on the 28th, but it's Sunday night into Monday. So like 27th, 28th. No, 27th, around the 27th, because it was nighttime. But if I went to bed around midnight or so, it was around Monday. So the 27th of October, we're at now. That night, I'm going to tell about that experience. I lied awake and I tried to talk to Tide. I mentioned I understood and I thanked her for protecting us. I asked for access to the rest of the system, please. Promised that I would do my best to not let any bad outcomes happen like in the past when I was very clearly and overtly median. I clearly had little, and I used to involuntary age regress. There's probably videos of that on there here. I understand that my husband was weirded out, and it's good he was to a point. It would cause him to be a weird, pervert or something if he wasn't, since I still wanted intimacy and stuff like that. Because, at other times, but the thing is, I couldn't always control it. I also know that the personality shifts stressed him too, since it happened a lot, sort of rapidly, and I was totally different. I promised Hyde that these bad effects wouldn't happen again. I would do my best to ensure that. I'm not sure if you trust me, though. Some aspects of me still seem to be locked away. That night, a part of Your World, the song from Little Mermaid, began playing in my head. I think I got introduced to another facet that works with Tide in the center of headspace. Her name is Till. She is shy and wouldn't really speak to me when I tried. She seems really lonely as well and seems similar to Ariel from A Little Mermaid. That is pretty much the only impression that I received. I think my brain tried to think of more names for a third, because, T, alliteration. But I think that was more me in my character creator mode, and any other names did not, in fact, actually come from any facet in headspace. I thought of Turquoise, but I don't think it's actually anyone. It's just me, wanting to think of. Thursday the 30th, October 30th. Yeah, I don't know if it's weird to read my diary on YouTube, but I'm only sharing certain things. I'm obviously skipping, like, I'm not sharing everything. I'm sharing median related, plurality related things. But oh, excuse me, I had to pop my neck. Oh, yes. So, the 30th October. According to Discord, it looks like I might have started using Plurality-Recent, a bot used to switch to different profiles on one single account to talk as different ones commonly used by systems. Around 2022, maybe? I thought about it, and I might have realized median applied to me maybe around 2019, maybe 2018. Also, I think sometime after I watched hubby play Persona, the Persona video game, and I researched about Carl Jung's theories about personas. Persona 5 was released in 2016, and one significant thing that had happened to me that year was me getting diagnosed with EDS. Persona 4 did greatly impact me as well, since it mentioned other selves, but perhaps it still didn't quite affect me as much as the 5th game? Varied iterations of Persona. Oh, yeah. I didn't continue. I just... So, yeah, that's that. Oh, there's one more thing. It was a recent... And then, recently, like a week or so ago, mid of this month. No, it was a week before the 20th. It wasn't the 20th. It was happening... excuse me. excuse me. Around the week of the, the 10th. About maybe around the second week of November-ish. Anywhere from the first to the second week of November, that this was happening. Another facet / part of me showed up for like a week to a week and a half recently, around that time. Second week of November. The name Claire got triggered to be her first name after looking at a box. This box. Oops. I got some, you may have seen it in my makeup video. I got this, and I saw Claire, and it wasn't me just thinking, oh, that's a nice name. It was like, oh, that's another someone else. That's another name in there, It got triggered when I saw that, and I was like, yep, that's it. And Pine became her last name, P-I-N-E, because at the time I was thinking of the pine trees where we lived when I was around 18, 19. I sat out in the woods there to relax. It was a little ways behind, I don't know, Double White or place where I lived with my parents. It was like a couple rows of trees back, and I sat there. It was nice and quiet and relaxing. I was super exhausted all of a sudden, to the point that I was tired enough to go to bed early, around 9:30. I was able to take 2 naps during that period of time when I usually can't fall asleep during the day. I've had so many appointments lately, and my system was so exhausted and shut down. Claire was like a motherly and self-care part that showed up to ensure I got the rest I needed. It was like the term co-conscious. It was both of us. And I felt very kind of Now, I didn't feel child. I keep hearing a vehicle. I didn't feel like that, but I felt very like she was the mother, and I don't know how to explain it. My therapist yesterday basically said my brain isn't weird, because, I had said that. It's different and gives me what I need when I need it. That's basically what she's saying about that, because I told her about Claire and everything. So that was the latest thing. And I don't know. Another reason I think I'm not valid is because how many disappear? Like, constant system restructuring, I suppose. And, like, suddenly there's, like, none available. The facets are not available like they were. They're not there anymore. So, yeah. That is the recent the writings of stuff about median. Not even sure if Tide is around. But this brain and system's really only been focusing on, like, the doctor's appointments and just being so exhausted from them, mentally and physically, that it can't really think of anything else. So I'm like, well, if it goes away so often, am I truly the median? But when I think about it, one feeling remains. I still feel in the middle. I don't feel like, a singlet or, the multiple. So, I guess that's still the case. And I may or may not do more videos on it and talk about my experience about it. Let me know if you want to hear more about it or not. I don't know if anybody understands. It's commonly talked about on Discords and Tumblr, and you'll find a lot of people who has debates about it, like anti-endogenic origin people, which it just simply means the system was not originally created because of trauma. That's just simply what endogenic means. Doesn't mean it can't have trauma. It might or might not. It might discover it later. It just was not originally created because of trauma. But there can be dissociation even. There can be other things. I don't know why there's such debate. Who cares how other people's system got created to begin with, I guess. See, I guess I'm nicer. I would be nicer about others than myself. I have a lot of imposter syndrome about this because it's not really talked about. I mean, heck, I don't think DID is talked about as much, but I have been on my algorithm on TikTok hearing videos and that they talk about, that. And of course, it's understandable that the most common form of plurality would be talked about more than the middle ground. But it does kind of make sense if you think about it, equating, like, having plurality be a spectrum. I would not think a person's either fully, But yeah, that's what I think. And thank you for listening to my latest update about my brain system. Thank you, and let me know if you end up watching this entire video. I'm sorry it's so long. Let me know if you end up watching it, what you think. Is there anyone out there that feels what I do, that can empathize with me, that, understands what I'm talking about when it comes to this kind of plurality? Please let me know. I want to find more like me, but I'm just simply making a video. I don't expect it to go viral or anything, but you never know. So yeah, just please, hopefully someone out there can empathize and know what I'm talking about. And thank you so much for watching if you have gotten this far. And I know it's long, but thank you very much, and I hope you all take care, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.